Big travelers.
At the information counter.
Yeah.
At this time, I'd like to continue boarding Piedmont Airlines Flight 559.
Maureen? Did you need to do something with that freaking line?
This time, we'd like to welcome our frequent flyers on board. If you need a frequent flyer application, please ask one of the flight attendants. We'll be happy to get it for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been cleared for landing. Please return all seats and seatback trays fully upright. Now for this, make it please until you're inside the terminal building, and please reach in through the security of your seatbelt.
The purpose is not to get on a bus and go up and down the streets of New York and say, there's the Empire State Building, there's the World Trade Center, which they do on these various gray lines. This is a serious, and I mean it, a serious intellectual endeavor. The attempt here is to give you an insight into the Jewish heritage, Jewish experience.
And if you've been in one, I haven't been in this one. This is the Salem Mall. This is the Salem Mall. It's got a food.
It's a stronghold against the British, and as I say, it is the oldest man-made artifact in Manhattan. Forget about being a Jewish artifact. It is the oldest man-made artifact left in Manhattan. And this is it. And it's a national landmark. Okay.
You did that beautifully, Cindy.
Boy, am I hungry. Hi, Ma.
What else did you have? The sparkle with the mushrooms.
We'll cover it right here on the side. We'll cover it again? Right here.
They're pretty.
Different than mine.
It's like sparkle. Yeah, same. I make
Where? Where are you going? I'm going to buy some rubble off for the bar. That's like the table one, you know, we're buying the table for the bus.
I'm going to watch
it. Because there's more flavor in it.
There's much more flavor.
So good. Then you put the...
Because that's a schlap. Walking. Now please understand, in other words, I will never rush you, but I will set the pace, and rather than have the last person set the pace, because otherwise we'll never get anywhere. But don't feel that I'm leaving you behind. I'm not, but I will set the pace, and you'll catch up, and then eventually we'll start. Because I've been with other groups, and if I let the ladies from Milwaukee who are walking on the board, this mural is particularly good. It's not a great work of art, but it showed them what it was like. By the turn of the century, called tenements, 5, 6, 7-story walk-ups, a family of 8 or 9 in 2 rooms, and sometimes they didn't have enough money to pay the rent, so they got a boarder. And in Jewish tradition here on the Lower East Side, they even have popular songs about the border. How the border used to philander with the wife, how the border would mix her into the business. You know, a parent would be rebuking the child, and the border would say, don't do that. You're not bringing up your child properly. And the border would help pay the rent. They would set up, they get street smart, and their parents are still speaking Yiddish. So they come to the Lower East Side on the boat. They go through that horror of Ellis Island, which was called the Island of Tears. Right? unlike the hope and anticipation when they saw the Statue of Liberty, come down to the Lower East Side, to the slums, and most of them go into the needle trade industry, garment work, piecework, right? Who were the owners of the industry? The uptown Jews. They were the manufacturers. They were the distributors. The downtown Jews, the Lower East Side Jews, the cars will be coming out very soon. Years ago. I was the only one that was for Henry Jackson. Because, I felt, I'm chauvinist. Henry Jackson grabbed you for a million. All Orthodox. No conservative, no reform down here. Now, what will happen is when these congregations die out, the Chinese will come from Chinatown, which we came through. We'll put money on the table. We'll buy the building. We will buy the building. All cash, no questions asked, right? And so the question, what will happen if there are no younger Jews to fill this up, right? And the only way they'll come is if they get apartments here. Then these synagogues, for the most part, will disappear. This one is pretty active, the Young Israel, right? And they're about all closed. But if you come here on Simchas Torah, on the eve of Simchas Torah, they still block off the street, and they come out from the Young Israel, and they dance with the Torahs in the street. So that still takes place here. I'll show you another place if you're here next week with her as quickly as possible. Secondly, thank God, there's always that concept of tzedakah, of philanthropy within the Jewish community, where the better off one must help, as a religious obligation, as a sense of being Jewish, help the poorer one. So they extend a helping hand. They get money and they create this institution called the Educational Alliance, an amalgam of a number of institutions. And this, think of a Jewish community center. This is the first, built in the 1890s, this is the first institution that offered classes in English to immigrants before the public school system did that. It was the first building, the first institution that had a free lending library. It had a summer camp for boys at the Lower East Side who never knew what grain was. It had classes in art. For example, Louise Nevison, the sculptress, came here and took lessons for 3 cents a day. Moses Gross, Chaim Sawyer. Now these are some of the people who came through here, but it's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, people that they don't have here, for example, are like Nathan Birnbaum, otherwise known as George Burke, eventually got out of the ghetto, and this was a Jewish ghetto, to distinguish themselves. Now, this money came from up from Russia, learned English here, and sold newspapers out on the street of East Broadway, and eventually got himself a job in a famous department store that no longer exists here called Wanamaker's. In Wanamaker's, he had a job as a wireless operator. That's how long ago it was. Wireless. He is well, they won't have time to go back today. You got a sucker? Will you come over tomorrow night? Oh, that's right. Anyway, you make it with sugar and I hate it. Well, the Garden Cafeteria. Isaac Basheva Singer, who used to write for the Jewish Daily Forward, would eat lunch there. All the writers would sit there and schmooze all the philosophers. What you had on the Lower East Side was a potpourri, kind of a challenge.
I can't give you a little bit of something. You meet that guy? You want it?
Design is typical of the Middle East. That's a Moorish design. Right? In other words, when you go to Jerusalem or Israel, the Arabs build that way with that. So it was built sort of to represent a temple in the Middle East, their version of a temple on the Temple Mount.
Of this modern built architect synagogue, especially the upstairs as we are here now. This synagogue is the only one marked in history left on this side of the lakes. The New York Philanthropic had contributed everything which was neglected from the time of the common.
This Shabbos, I'll be here. Okay.
Well, let's get out of here. Huh? 9:30. 9:30.
Be here by 9:30.
Whoa.
Wait.
He's breaking a pickle. Don't get close.
I want a side view. Take a picture bringing a pickle.
Okay, we got to push on.
We'll never eat dinner if we eat them.
You want to make a fortune?
Minister Shamir, both of them had a series of meetings here with the administration officials. They had a meeting with the Jewish leadership. Both of them emphasized that the peace process is on the top of our agenda. We heard it from Shamir. We removed all the bureaucratic barriers and we have created favorable conditions for business for
I think one of the issues also was whether the Israeli government would sell the plane to the same customers and the same potential buyers as some of the American manufacturers. I think that's one of the underlying issues that really...
that's another aspect. It's not. It's another aspect.
Once I had a candy store, business was so bad. So I asked my wife what to do. This is what she said. She said, take a little kerosene, put it in your mass confusion. Where are the Romanians? Do we have any Romanians here? No Romanians? Where are the Romanians? Not good enough for anyone else to hear. La 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 la
More for the picture.
Something from a Broadway show, which you have to guess.
And there we are, some raw onions and gibnus. Put it in there. Schmaltz into the... Are you ready? Yeah. Little seltzer.
Kishka. Look at this. It hasn't moved.
Look at this.
This is the best fish cake. I didn't know you could get this one.
Location. You remember when your mother used to give you this food? Never everyone ever ate it? Out the window under the table? Now you travel so far to come to my little oasis here and pay these ridiculous prices. Coming here is like giving to United Jewish Appeal. Talking about my girl. I've done so much, honey, but please, I've got a sweeter song.
No, he gets salami.
No dessert, I use that. You guys still here? And I went up. We're at our other place, right, Bernie? Do you remember? We have another place that's going to, be great. It will be. La Bibliothèque uptown. And we're on Park Avenue. Bernie and I saw an old man crying. Sitting on a curb crying. I said to the driver, stop the car, please. And I got out and I said, sir, is something wrong? And he says, I'm 92 years old. I got $58 million. I got married 3 weeks ago to the most gorgeous woman in the world. She's 24 years old. She got a body on her. We have sex every day. I said, sir, that's great. Why are you crying? He says, I forgot where I live.
That's what I just did. I know, that's me.
It doesn't matter, you have so much food, you never
You should be what I am.
Gary, get that guy with his
What is going on so fast as I look if I
You asked the cream. Yes, they do. You're telling me how to make an egg cream. The milk on that. Milk. 10 cents away.
The milk goes first.
10 cents away. My sister. The lovely and ever charming. Look, let me make one.
Watch him, Gary. Gary, the guy's gonna do it.
Where's the milk?
It's stirring.
There's much. There? Sorry, sir. What on the table?
I need a glass. I got a blazer. When I got a blazer, you don't need a glass.
I'll make it more.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peter. Happy birthday to Peter. Happy birthday, Peter.
Mark thought we walked.
Yeah, I haven't had any morning coffee.
Ellen, what did she do? I told her Mark said
And we'll get a little closer to it. And later, when we come back the other direction, we'll stay out in the front deck, get a little air, and see what it's like.
What's the red brick?
Okay. The red brick building over there with like a little steeple over there is simply the Central Jersey Railroad Station. People would come from Central Jersey, take a railroad into that depot, and then take a ferry across to it. That's Staten Island right over there. Well, it was primarily private funding, normally when
I was going to say, where's the
there's a
camera?
Statue of Liberty ferry, like the pedestal of the Liberty. What happened is that the people of France gave the Statue of Liberty to Americans, and they did not give them a pedestal. And what happened is that they just published, you would publish Joseph Pulitzer, founded a campaign to raise money, and they got various artists, including a woman named Emma Lazarus, who wrote a poem. It was not originally intended to be on the statue, but she just wrote a poem to raise money.
This way for one.
Do we get off? Oh, that respect when we came in.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
How the war more of a Subway feels. You know what's lovely? The spans of the bridges. They got a financial center there. The south part of New York, right? I'm sorry? That's the east side. That'll be the east river, the Hudson. And they moved converged down here in the upper bay. September 1654, founded the first Jewish community in North America. That happened here. This was then called New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam was 750 people from this tip going as far north as Wall Street. Remember yesterday I told you Wall Street had a stockade. Peter Stuyvesant was the governor. These 23 Jewish men, women, and children come from. They actually came from a community called Recife, Brazil. There were 1,000 Jews living in Brazil. American history, American Jewish history starts 1492. 1492, two major events happened. Spanish Inquisition, and Jews in Brazil, in Spain, are forced to either accept Catholicism or leave. And the other thing is Columbus sets out and discovers the New World. And that sets everything in motion. One of the places that he discovers is South America, that area there, the conquistadores, and Jews who were called Marranos, meaning the ones who secretly remain Jews but on the surface accepted Catholicism, move and go to Brazil. There were 1,000 Jews living in Brazil at the turn of the 17th century, the early 1600s. Portugal, which also had an Inquisition, then conquers Brazil and says to the Jews and everybody else living there, you got 3 months. Either accept Catholicism and the Portuguese government or else leave. And so there's 1,000 Jewish men, women, and children. Rabbi James Rudin, he goes around the country speaking against cults and things like that. Rudin gave this, and he says, dedicated to the people of all nations who entered America through Castle Garden. Prior to Ellis Island, Ellis Island is Castle Clinton. Castle Clinton was built in around the 1800s, the early 1800s, as a fortress. Walls 7 feet thick, cannons, to fight the British. Remember when British were impressing American sailors during the War of 1812? They built that. This was on the water. This, by the way, Battery Park is all landfill. There was a causeway from State Street that connected all the way to Castle Clinton. So where we're standing here was all filled in. Castle Clinton was built on a pile of rocks. It was built as a fortress before and had a battery of cannons. Never fired a shot. Maybe on July 4th, but never fired of New York State. And it became an entertainment place. They changed the name to Castle Garden. It was roofed over. And for years they had entertainment there, and in 1850, that famous showman, Barnum, E.T. Barnum, brought over the new Colossus. Not going to be like that brazen giant of Greek fame, but it's going to be a little different, right? It's going to be a figure of a man. So I've taken the liberty of printing up the poem, and I'll let you each have a copy. And here at Emma Lazarus' tablet, I want to commemorate one of the great American Jewish women. So if you take a copy of the poem. Storied pomp, cried she with silent lips, give me, your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuge of your... That white stone over there, that's why I said, Gary, you should climb over and get that, on Jerusalem Road. But when we go up, it's blowing better here. Well, in Jerusalem, on the side of the hill, they've got a disease in the trees here. You see some of them are brown and scrawny, but they seem to be thriving.
Yeah, well, all, you know, it's a big table like a shmuz or a Shabbos Tishred or something like that. And this damn thing doesn't work, and Rafi Rothstein is going to be very upset with me, but what the devil. First of all, I want to wish you all a Happy New Year. This thought was mine that we stop deflecting our resources and our energy and our understanding into all sorts of goodwill and UNICEF projects and worrying about the starving cats of Armenia, and we get down to cases as to what education. I'm not talking about just a university budget. I'm talking about high schools.
I don't know why. Seeing that all of you have been addressed individually by either me or by Bobby, and by Peter, and by Mark, and whoever else has been doing some talking around here. Peter is now passing out your pledge cards, and we are going to ask you all to sign them. And in the process of signing your pledge cards, we would also like for you to begin Just think in terms of some of the comments that you might like to share. Some of the things that you might like to talk about. Be it telling us your pledge, or
and to help them get a teenage girl out of Iran. Now this is a piece that is not public, but the Jewish community is actively involved in getting Jews out of Iran. With all the difficulties and all the dangers involved, there are a significant amount of Jews leaving. It's not you don't read about this in any paper, and we don't want it as a public factor, but it's it's through organizations that we support, not only locally, but internationally, such as the JDC and Hyatt. I've had we talk about aging and the problems we deal with. I've had last month about dealing with some people I know very closely, and Ronnie knows we've had one in common. You know, people who we work directly in trying to help them deal with their loneliness and also providing them with the services that they need. Convincing them. One of the most difficult problems is not only those people we have the process of getting into the home, but it's those people before they come into the home who need to know that they can't do what they used to do and that they need some help. And when I left Gary and Ellen the other night, and it was pretty late, I came home and I talked to someone on the coast who were trying to help because they have a child who has leukemia, a child in the family. And so that's been a little bit what my last 2 weeks, some of the little things that have been involved in the last 2 weeks. But that's what the Jewish community is about. And when I thought about it, Joseph, both when we started out at the Education Alliance about the uptowners helping the downtowners, and I remember, and that's been going on for a long time. But I also thought about it particularly when we were at the site of the landing of the first Jews in the United States, and the regs, which are part of our values, and, of taking care of our own kind. And I think that